What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on PTI, they're going to be talking about, is there a possibility that Chris Paul might join the Lakers? So let's see what they have to say about that.
No, now. CP3 is gone. Chances are he won't be in OKC for long. Owed $124 million over the next 3 years. He's got a huge choice to make in all likelihood. Accept a huge buyout or resign himself to the fact that he'll be in a situation where he will never have a chance at a championship again. So, Tony, here's the question. What now for CP3? And what choice should he make?
I look at Chris Paul as an irritating player in decline. Nobody wants to play with him as far as you learn. I don't see how he can last in Oklahoma City at all. They got nothing there. This is like being in an out.
He's not going to want to be there
at this point. So my first thought when I heard about this was, well, the place he ought to go is the Lakers. The Lakers ought to trade for him. It gets him with LeBron, who he really likes. He might be terrific. He can stick it to the Clippers if he wants to do that. But I also thought the Lakers have nothing to trade. They got no players, and they took 300 draft picks to get Anthony Davis. So I don't know how that would happen.
I'm going to tell you how it could.
So I don't see that happening at all. I don't see that happening at all. You remember what happened last year between Rondo and Chris Paul? When apparently Rondo spit in Chris Paul's face? And then after that, Chris Paul tried to get tough and then Rondo put them hands on him? Do you think that's going to be happening every day in practice? If they end up on the same team? I mean, what do you think is going to happen? If someone spits in your face, it's never going to be okay. There's no recovering from somebody spitting in your face. Even if I beat you down, there's going to be no recovering from that. And that's not really the kicker. The kicker is how LeBron James went over and consoled Chris Paul after that fight. After he spit in his teammate's face, LeBron James went over and consoled Chris Paul. It's okay. It's not worth it. Don't fight. It's like, wait a minute. Whose team are you on, LeBron? What are you over there talking to your homeboy for? He may be your homeboy out in the street, but here we're both teammates, and you're supposed to have my back, and you're over here trying to console him and make sure he's okay? Nah, we can't have that. We definitely can't have that. And you guys need to go back and look at that video between the fight between the two, and look at LeBron James, how he was consoling Chris Paul after that whole situation. That's another thing I forgot about. That's another knock on LeBron James. So let's continue.
Happen. CP3 has to make a decision, which is why I posed the question that way, because here's the reality. When he was in Los Angeles and he elected to leave, he walked away from what was going to be, because they were going to offer, the Clippers were going to offer him 5 years in excess of $200 million. He walked away from that, essentially cost himself anywhere from $20 to $40 million by going to Houston. And now that he's departed from Houston to OKC, if he were to accept the buyout, being owed $124 million over the next 3 years, if I'm Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm not letting him buy out his contract. It's going to cost him at least $10 to $15 million that he would have to give up.
But you think they would buy him out?
Without question.
Okay.
Without question. So, because remember, they already saved $50 million on the Russell Westbrook contract, had an additional year at $47 million plus the $3 extra million he was making in Chris Paul this year. The point is this. If you are Chris Paul, you have a decision to make. You want your money and stay in basketball purgatory in Oklahoma City because they're rebuilding. It's not purgatory, but they're rebuilding right now. That's what the situation is. He wants to compete.
It won't catch up with him because he's too old.
Or let them buy you out, accept a few less $1 million, maybe settle for $105 to $110 million, and then go. You're free to go wherever you want and go join your brother LeBron James in LA.
There is no way, again, there is no way Chris Paul is going to be able to play with the Lakers with Rondo there. Because as soon as they get into a fight, you know LeBron James is going to run and help his homeboy. And you know he's going to go and help Chris Paul and try to, take his side and console him like he did during the fight last year. So you want to talk about a team split? A team divided? Oh, man. Can you imagine what's going to happen in that locker room? Can you imagine if Chris Paul was there? That type of smoke that's going to be going on every single day in practice between those two? And then LeBron James getting in the mix and having Chris Paul's back. And I mean, it just can get out of control. And if I was the Lakers, I would definitely avoid that mess. I would definitely avoid that. I mean, there's enough things going on with the Lakers organization. You don't need a guy like Chris Paul coming into the locker room and disrupting the flow that's barely even flowing right now. But to have him in there, you definitely don't need that kind of trouble. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
Now, what do you think will happen?
I will tell you, I think it could, but remember, he and Rondo can't stand each other.
And remember,
Rondo's not.
You know what I feel badly for? I think those State Farm commercials are gone. Certainly the ones with James Harden, because they hate each other.
They are fun.
I think they're gone.
They are fun, though. They are fun. I must admit.
So again, you guys need to go back and look at the fight between Chris Paul and Rondo and see what happened there, and see if that's something that could be a bridge or water under the bridge if Chris Paul comes to the Lakers, and then look at LeBron James' actions to his teammates versus Chris Paul, and see if that could be water under the bridge. I mean, that would be a major problem if Chris Paul was to come to the Lakers as the new guy, and LeBron James has already got his back, and he's not taking the back of guys that he's played with, Rondo, and that just spells catastrophe right there. I mean, that could be so bad, and especially if somebody spits in my face or there's something going on like that, there's no recovering from that. We can't be teammates. I'd rather you punch me on my face, dead in my face, than you spit on me in my face. That's something I can never forget that. We can never be teammates, and there's nothing that could rectify that. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
Oklahoma City Thunder have now seen Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook come and go. In return, the Thunder now have accumulated 15 first-round picks between 2020 and 2026. So apparently, they will try to rebuild through the draft. Stephen, will this work?
Hell no. Excuse my language. It's just not going to work. And let me tell you why it's not going to work. Because, Tony, as we sit here today right now, you said 15 picks.
A lot.
From 20 to 2026. Do you foresee them acquiring another Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook?
No.
Well, that's what you had.
Yeah.
So if you're Sam Presti, no disrespect, because he is an astute general manager. He's exceptional, no doubt about it. But you had Serge Ibaka. You had Reggie Jackson. You had Russell Westbrook. You had Kevin Durant. You had Paul George. You had Victor Oladipo. You don't have one single championship to show for that. Now, show me one executive in the history of any sport that has had that level of talent
Hasn't won.
and that has not won a championship. Anybody out there in America, take your time. I will wait. It has never happened.
So that is very true, and that's bad that haven't even made, they couldn't even get one ring out of all that talent. But hindsight is 2020 when you're on the other side of that, because you don't really know how good James Harden was going to be. You didn't know how good a lot of those other players were going to be. They just turned out to be, ballers. And as far as Kevin Durant, you knew about Kevin Durant, his potential, and probably maybe Russell Westbrook. But a lot of those guys, how are you supposed to know? There's no way you can know that. And you can't, it's going to be hard to keep them all together. So I don't know. I think hindsight is 2020 with that type of situation. They look dumb, but like I said, you didn't know how everything was going to turn out. And will they have another draft like that again? I do not think so. I don't think they'll ever get that type of squad or that amount of the concentration of quality of players like that ever. So I don't know. Let's continue.
To me, if you didn't show that you could get it done, and I blame Sam Presti only in the regard that even though Scott Brooks and obviously Billy Donovan are respected in their own right, the bottom line is when you look at that level of talent, there are people who thought this should have been a better coach for those guys. In the end, it never happened. So why should I believe it's going to happen now?
So if I'm Oklahoma City, I look at this, I look at the draft because I can't get a free agent.
Okay.
I had Paul George with a 4-year deal, and after 1 year, Paul George said to me, get me out of here by midnight. People aren't going to want to go there. That is an outpost in the league. So the only way I can build is through the draft. The problem is, and I think you're alluding to it, maybe once every 4 or 5 years, a guy comes along around whom you can win a championship. They're going to have to package these draft picks and send them someplace else. And if I'm Oklahoma City, I also look at this. Who got rich this year? A New York City team, a Los Angeles, California team, and Houston, the 4th largest city in America. What am I? I got no chance in Oklahoma City. No chance.
I will say this is a last point. I don't think Paul George left OKC more than he went to home in L.A., near L.A.
Is he still in Oklahoma City?
Well, I think that was a combination of things with Paul George. So I wouldn't let Paul George go if I was the OKC. I wouldn't let him go. You want to trade? Well, that's fine, but we're going to give it another year, and you're going to stay here. So I wouldn't let him go. And as far as Russell Westbrook, I won't let Russell Westbrook go either. There's no way. I mean, he's sitting there with nothing? Heck no. I'd keep both of those guys. Like, look, you're going to at least give it 2 years. At least 2 years. You didn't give it 1, but we're at least going to give it 2 years to see if we can make this work. We're going to change up our scheme, our system, and all that to make some adjustments. But you guys, Paul George, you're not going to leave after just 1 year. So as far as that, that's dumb on them. But I don't know. It is what it is. So let's continue.
Missed something?
No. It's just that.
Is there a different geography?
It's not saying, I don't want to part
He
Oklahoma
called
City.
up and he said,
did
"Get me
commit
out
to
of here
that.
by midnight."
I got you. I'm just not going to hold it against him in that